This video will show you what to test if you have a Samsung or a Maytag dryer that won't start or stay running. Safety first, so always disconnect power before servicing any electrical appliance. And remember, the internal edges of the machines are very sharp, so when you start taking them apart, be careful not to cut yourself on the edges, or they are sharp and they will cut you. If you don't know how to take this machine apart, click here for the video that shows how to take it apart so you can get to it and work on it. Once you've got it apart, here's what you'll find. On the blower housing down there, on the bottom right hand side of it, is the fuse and the thermistor both. They're right next to each other. And what we're going to do is get a multimeter or volt-ohm meter and test for continuity on both of them actually. The first one I'm testing is the thermal fuse, which is usually the most likely culprit when it won't start. It just won't do anything at all, won't try to start even. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my meter on continuity tester. If yours doesn't have continuity tester, put it on the lowest reading you have for ohms and make sure you get a reading. If you get a reading or tone, then it's good, like this one is good. If you don't have tone or you don't get a reading on the lowest scale, then the fuse and thermistor should both be replaced at the same time. Just remove those two screws, comes right off. Same thing on the thermistor. Now to test the thermistor, I am going to go ahead and check for continuity. Normally on these thermistors, you won't have continuity when you first test it unless you raise your scale up to the 10,000 or maybe even 1,000, but at least 1,000, possibly have to go to 10,000 on the scale. And put it on the scale higher up, and then you should get a reading between 10,000 and 11,000 ohms of resistance, generally at room temperature. If the temperature is very much higher or lower than room temperature, it may be outside of those ranges. So just because it's outside of those ranges doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. But if you have extremely high resistance or an open, either one of those, then it's definitely bad. But you got to make sure you raise that range up to test it properly. Always replace these in pairs if one of them tests bad.